What's good, anime enthusiasts? Welcome to the final episode of Sentenced to Be a Hero, and my god, is this episode a doozy of reveals and making me question so many more things about what's going on. And I don't know. No, I don't know. It's like made me feel less about the anime. Like my rating for it goes down because of what happens in this episode specifically. And I'm coming at this from like a story's perspective and writing. Yes, we've got all the action. Yes, it's great on that. I've got no qualms with that. I mean, I can have some personal bias upon things here and there, but for what it's worth, the action serves its purpose. We're cool, we're done. But now when we get to the story and we start tying things in, we're making callbacks to other things. Some are great, and some of the decisions made in this just have me wondering what is going on. So you know what, let me not delay this any further. Let's just jump right into it, right? Because there's a lot going on here. So the episode begins with the aftermath of the fight with Bujim. Xylo and Terrorita are just walking along. The fun times are had. Nice dialogue between each other. Xylo pats and praises Terrorita. Fun times are happening. Next scene, Talon and Terrorita walking through the streets of Eof. And there's a kid like pulling along somebody like, hey, I need help. And you know, doesn't that kid look like one of those assassin children? Isn't that Spriggan? But hey, guess what? Xylo and Terrorita don't know that. But me, when I saw that, I was like, oh no, it's a trap. And Terrorita's too righteous and helpful, and she walks on over. And then the kid just like, you know, falls over, pretending to be tired. And then Spriggan gets active. And luckily, Xylo was already suspicious of the kid from beforehand. So he had a dagger set and ready. Throws it at Spriggan, scrapes him by on the side, which gives Terrorita enough time to pull out the dagger and react and block the shot. And then immediately after, Spriggan gets shot in the back by Sav, and Dada's like, bro, you shot the kid. And Sav's like, but the kid hit Terrorita. And then Xylo kicks Spriggan through the wall, and that is the end of Spriggan. Spriggan escapes, and Xylo's like, that must have been Spriggan. No. I'm sorry. Duh. But after a little dialogue, they leave. Next scene is two of Kivia's holy knights. They're talking and they're taking stock of things in the aftermath of it. And they wonder where Kivia and the infantry lieutenant Rajit are. Well, the next scene afterward is those two actually meeting up with Frenchie, because this is the next morning, and Frenchie reveals to Kivia that Kivia's suspicions were true, meaning that, but remember last episode, Kivia was already getting highly suspicious of her uncle, High Priest Marlin, of him being a coexister and doing things. So she requested Frenchie to, hey yo, look into this and make sure I'm not going crazy. And Frenchie's like, nah sister, you're not crazy. You're messed. It's over. So let's find out what happened to Spriggan after Spriggan escaped. They're in the sewers. They're crawling along and they're probably fine, right? No. Of all the people to find Spriggan, it's Rhino. What? Why is Rhino there? Why is Rhino hoping to run into Spriggan? Bro, Rhino is talking so familiar, like they know Spriggan. Well, of course Rhino knows Spriggan. He exposes himself as a demon lord. Look, so many questions just going through my head, and everything about Rhino just ties in. Why is he so apathetic towards humans? Because he's a demon lord. He doesn't care really that much. Why does Rhino question things about human motives and emotions like those previous episodes? That's because he's a demon lord. He's still trying to learn things, just like how Bujim was, reading poetry and trying to learn about human emotions and whatnot. And then we have Rhino, who is like, bro, I don't care. And Rhino, why? Who did anybody like pass the vibe check with Rhino and figure out if he is a demon lord? And how did nobody react? I mean, Terrorita would be the one to like vibe check Rhino. At least Terrorita was able to vibe check Boojum, but maybe there wasn't enough time or screen time for when Terrorita first met Rhino to vibe check him. Either way, how Rhino was able to Rhino was just able to like go under the radar for so long. Nobody really knew. I guess for like at least the higher ups and the dude has been sentencing everyone. It also, because it's a strange thing that Rhino became a volunteer hero. Why is that? Is he really on our good side? Because he says he enjoys, killing his own kind, other demon lords, and he's excited about it. He talks about it, and while he's doing that, he just manhandles Spriggan. And as he's talking about trying to comprehend humans' interactions, and it's a funny scene as Spriggan is trying to escape, but he ain't escaping. And Rhino, now we know his true demon name, flesh/fairy name. He is Demon Blight Puka, who took control of another human body, who is Rhino. And of course, Puka kills Spriggan. Cool. Side note tangent, if you were to wonder what does Puka means, Puka is, well, Puck or Puka is from Irish, Celtic, I believe I remember that correctly, mythology, in which, depending on how you want to pronounce it, it's either Puck or Puka, whichever, I guess, age you're trying to say it from. Both of them generally mean the same thing. It's more of a mythological shape-shifting creature that can be good, but also can be bad. It just depends on what story that you hear from. So this trickster entity kind of resembles what Rhino is now. Like, Rhino is in fact a demon lord, but at the same time, he is also fighting against his own kind on the human side. So, is he good? Is he evil? Who really knows? I guess it's up to Rhino/Puka at this moment in time. It's a good analogy and a good reference, and I like that. But at the same time, there's so many questions. Also, one of the things that irks me about this episode is that Boojum survived. I don't know how. He just explains it. Yo, I just hit the substitution jutsu and I live. Sure. You live. I guess you can live, Boojum. I mean, you are one of the few, I guess the only demon lord who actually talked about his king, and you share a sentiment that humans are should be respected for their short lives and how they're fighting in this war, and your king shares that value. So I guess we need to see you more, but unfortunately that also dumbs down Terrorita's skills, because the Holy Sword was supposed to be this great weapon that bamps anything out of existence. Well, it can just be simply deflected by a simple substitution. Boom, call it easy. And that's sure. After that, this next scene is all too spooky. It's this scene and the very last scene that are really like the highlights and the big takeaways of this episode. So, High Priest Marlin, Kivia, and Ajit, they're in a room together. And the main characters are, of course, Marlin and Kivia, as they're both congratulating on each other for their actions in the previous defense battle, and everything sunshines and roses, until Kivia comes out as, hey, Unc, you just want to fill the temple's leadership with coexisters. And then there's just silence as thunder rumbles in the background. And then Marlin just Simpson deflects and plays a little dumb, but Kivia just lays down the facts behind the name Zelkov and Zelkuf, and she even investigated the so-called unit that's supposed to saw the fairies coming, in the last battle, Unit 7110, they don't exist. And as Kivya just laying everything down, Uncle Marlin, bro is just like, he's chill. He don't even look bothered while Kivya questions him relentlessly. And then, of course, Kivya asked the $1,000,000 question. Why are you working the coexisters? And good old Unc just says what Cedric says. It's for the people who matter most to him. He wants to save himself, his family, and the believers of the temple. He wants those he loves to be safe, and he is willing to condemn the rest of humanity for it. Cedric said the same thing. It's a little... Look, okay, Cedric, we understand that. We've been through the whole process of why he would want to condemn humanity to save his own family. I wish that Marlin had a different reason, even though both of them had share the same sentiment. It's the same reason. We want our family and loved ones to be safe within this oncoming storm in which humanity is going to really lose. And we want the best of both us and whoever we want around us. That's fine. Kind of wish Marlin had a different reason, but at the same time, it's pretty much the only viable reason ever. And of course, Marlin says, what we've been predicting this whole entire time. Humanity's going to lose to the demon blight. There's way too many insiders and too much corrupting on the inside. And of course, since Marlin is talking to somebody with renown and skill, Kivya, someone that he loves, he attempts to coerce Kivya to stand with him as one of the overseers, so that I'm guessing it's a little bit easier for him and Kivya to, relax and be chill. Of course, Kivya cries and bawls her eyes out as the person who has helped her grow into the person she is bought the sword that she wields, really destroy her whole entire world around her, what she built up to. She couldn't believe that someone that she loved and someone so close to her just converted so easily. And of course, Kivya argues with Marlin about it and her way of thinking. And in the middle of it, Kivya just calls Richie to arrest Marlin, who, this scene is so cool. In a quick moment, gets a thunderstaff from underneath the desk, points it at Kivya, and before he fires, Rajit throws Kivya to the side and sacrifices a huge chunk of himself to save Kivya. Rajit's gone. He ain't living anymore. And so, on demon timing, Ankh just turns towards Kivya with the thunderstaff, and Kivya roars in pain. And it's nothing but silence after this, as you see Kivya stab Marlin, and afterwards she just breaks the sword off her, just severing the bond and severing all of those years and the memories that she's had with her uncle. Beautiful cinema. But of course, the other Holy Knights rush in to see Kivya standing over Marlin's body. Pack wash on Marlin, rib bozo. Afterwards, outside while the rain is going on, the other heroes are just lounging around and just wondering where Rhino went. And it's pretty much a comic relief scene after the craziness we just witnessed. In a little bit, Frenchie pulls up, and then she drops the bad news. Yo, the attack on this port city Eof, it was a diversion. Demon Light Abaddon has breached the Ninth Order's defenses and has attacked the second capital. Oh, it's not looking good, folks. Humanity's on its last legs. The second capital is gone. After that, here's a quick scene of some military personnel, whoever this guy is. We have never seen this guy ever in the anime. And he's talking to his goddess, who's looking out the window. She looks kind of cool. Yeah. But right now, we need to get back to Kivya. Yo, Kivya, what's going on? Well, she's getting escorted through the streets while the crowd shouts her crimes. And then afterwards, she starts getting interrogated by the other Holy Knights / military personnel. And they are trying to reframe what happened and what Kivya knows. They're saying, hey, Kivia, what you did was that you feared High Priest Marlin's popularity and skill. You betrayed humanity and you killed your uncle and your lieutenant. And Kivia, if you confess to this motive, you confess to this line of thinking, we'll let you out immediately. And then Kivia's like, well, what about the hero unit? Why isn't there a trial? Why can't I take this to court? And the military personnel are like, we're going to leave you alone to think about this. And that's it. Yo, they are really, really, really trying to reframe and like pitch Kivia and High Priest Marlin as something that the coexisters aren't a part of, or it doesn't even relate to the coexisters, and just really treat humanity, like feed them so many lies. Like, this is so wrong on so many levels, and I love it. And of course, this last scene, several questions, but it's a good scene. So it's Kivia in a locked cell. She looks disheveled. She looks ragged. She looks like she's seen better days. Later on, yo, is that the judge / trial guy that sentenced all the other heroes? Bro, who are you? Why are you here? Who is that with you? Why did your partner summon a book? Wait, does that book detail everything about Kivia and who she is, what she does? And you're just able to dox her on everything? Okay, hold on. A lot of things are happening here, but you know, I like what's going on. So, yo, the person he's with is a goddess. And this goddess can summon a book with information, be it information about anything, apparently. And her name is Enfie. And of course, as a goddess, she gets praised for summoning the book and helping out. This guy, this whole entire time, he is a holy knight of the 12th Order. Hey, didn't we hear something about the 12th Order? Oh yeah, it was in episode 6, right? When Xylo wanted to figure out, hey, yo, since we got some like spies of the Demon Blight in our midst, can't we just contact the people of the 12th Order? They specialize in intelligence. Well, here's the intelligence. And these guys don't show this in public. No wonder why. Also, why did Xylo just become so hostile to the guy? Well, in general, he's a holy knight. And also, as Xylo said in the episode, hey, yo, the 12th Order don't show themselves in public. So how would Xylo know that he is like one of the, I guess, good guys, or the guys that would know the perfect information and should be able to help out? A lot of things crossing, a lot of things converging at the same time. It is getting wild and crazy. But this guy is here to show Kivia two paths. You can either, 1, A, be executed as a member of the Coexisters, or B, become a hero and fight the Demon Blight forever. And Kivia asks the $1 million question. A, what is a hero? What is this hero penalty? And the dude's like, well, Kivia, I'm glad you asked. And for everyone who's watching, you better get out your notebooks, put on your glasses, because it's time to go to class. So, the first goddess has the power to summon fighting champions. Okay, Isekai. She'll be able to pull people from other worlds. During the First War, this goddess used her powers to summon these champions, but it also created issues of understanding due to cultural differences. Makes sense. You pull people from other worlds, they get different cultures, it gets put into this world and things mess up. Whatever. The people of old, those being way back when, changed their tactics. They decided to summon the dead of their world, of this world, and summon them as their champions. Oh, that doesn't sound good in general. They're literally just like practicing necromancy. Well, they're just like bringing up the dead and really not letting them rest peacefully. So there's no real reason as to why they treat resurrection / heroes as a criminal sentence. But the fact of the matter is, the first goddess's powers, they aren't perfect. The reason why heroes lose their memories by being resurrected, the reason why heroes lose their memories while being resurrected, is because of how the first goddess remembers the person being targeted. for a resurrection. The more clear she remembers her target, the more precise the resurrection is. Enfia is able to supplement the information if needed, but for this whole entire time, the first goddess expends all of her energy every single day to remember the memories of the heroes that are of the hero unit. And I'm sorry, that first goddess kind of sucks. If you gotta spend your whole entire energy just to remember these people so that they can be revived, man, that's I mean, you just got you have a pocket squad of people who can truly never die, which unfortunately the first goddess is also their weakness. So I'm predicting that if you just take out the first goddess, then the hero unit is no more. Next time you try to attempt to revive them through some other means, I guess if you want to, they'll have no memories whatsoever. They'll just like be empty husks. But the first goddess has space for one more person. We're looking at that one more person. So the guy gives Kivia once more the choice. You can die as a coexister shill, or you can die as a hero. So Kivia walks forward. She gives a grand speech on everything that she's witnessed, and she accepts to become a hero. Takes that sword off herself as the guy sentences to be a hero. End credits. That is the end of the first season of Sentenced to Be a Hero. Oh boy. Okay. So this episode is cool. I'm not gonna lie. This episode is cool. Alright, so I won't lie to you. By the halfway point, after watching the first half of the season, I wasn't really heavily on board with Sentenced to Be a Hero. I was just like off the side of the train, just like looking for, I guess, the next jumping off point to where I don't want to be on the hype train. I never really was on the hype train. I'm very skeptical of things, and I was wondering if the anime was trying to tell too grand of a story while it's leaving a lot of holes, not telling us a lot of things. And I felt that I was being too critical. So I thought, you know what, let me just pull back, let it cook, let it try to tell the story it's trying to tell. And I started to enjoy it more afterwards. And I was like, all right, cool. This is starting to make sense. Now as we get to this final episode where things are being flipped on their head, we get a lot of reveals. Jim is alive for whatever reason. Rhino is maybe or maybe not on our side. There's way too many things going on. Humanity is already lost. And what I feel like is that this first season has set up everything. Everything is set up. They have not knocked down any of their dominoes. They have set up this grand story, this grand scheme. We have told all of these little stories as we follow the hero unit, and now they are there. They are now in the midst of it. We now have their entry point. We now have Kivia, who's going to be part of the hero unit, so that now that Zavoli and others can finally be a part of this grand story fully and formally. Nothing major or big has happened yet, besides what I'm guessing Kivia is joining. A lot of things that happen in the background has happened in the background. We don't see the second capital get sacked. We don't see how far or deep the corruption is. We only theorize about it as we hear it from other people and see it in these other scenes, which is fine for what it's worth, but more substance would be I would like to have. But with those gripes aside and me needlessly poking holes into this, some good, some bad, I enjoyed it, and for my final review of Sentenced to Be a Hero, I think I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but for what it's worth, with all the animations and art that is done, of all the character development that is attempted to do, and the story that's tried to tell, and everything that's happened, I can only give this a proper 7 out of 10. Before, at the halfway point, I think I was sitting around a 6, because I was being too harsh. But now that I've let off of that, and I started to enjoy it more, and listening and seeing things and trying to take a less critical approach, but still, harping on things that need to be like dissected. I think we're not at a 7. I think this anime is fine is at a 7. Does it look flashy and look cool? Yes. Is there a story? Yes. Does the story need a little bit of help? Probably needs to be told better. I do like the references and callbacks and the things that it ties together, but there are a few things that are a bit muddy in the world. Like, for instance, we know that if any of the heroes die, they can be resurrected and their memories kind of get lost at the same time. And now that we know the reason, it's because of this first goddess. But for real, none of them died. None of the heroes died. They've gotten like injured to the point to where they need repairs, but they haven't died. We don't know what death for them looks like or feels like. And that's kind of eh. And again, like I said, they set up that domino. They haven't knocked it off yet, which then set off a chain reaction for another thing. It's just there. And another domino is Frenchie and the Masterboat family, and Xylo's like connection / love to Frenchie. That domino set up. Hasn't knocked down yet. That domino set up. Rhino, big domino set up. Boojum, still alive somehow. That domino's knocked up. Spriggan is gone. It is what it is. But now we have the king of the demon blights. That domino's knocked up. We see these other goddesses and hear of these other goddesses that haven't really done anything yet. Those dominoes are set up. We don't know what these other Holy Knight orders are doing up. There's a few more dominoes. What's going on in the background and what we get from those dominoes are set up. Everything is here. This whole first season is just us setting everything up. If we get a second season, let's knock everything down and probably go full throttle and everything. Maybe. I don't know. But that's where we're kind of are right now. I got really nothing else. If I think of anything else, it'll just probably some things and theories that I'll keep it in my mind until then. I probably might bring them up in the should you watch this video. But other than that, for a final review, I think this is where I stand on the anime until I probably have some good discussions with other people that may or may not change my mind. We'll see what goes on. But for those of you who have followed this review journey with me through Sentence to Be a Hero, comment down below. Tell me what you think about the anime as a whole now after we've seen all 12 episodes. Let me know your theories. Let me know what you like. Also, by the way, I told you so. I even told JD. I told him Kivio was going to join the hero unit, and I called it. So now I get to be annoying about that. But I don't want to be that annoying. It's just, sometimes it's good to be right, and sometimes it's scary to be right. But if nothing else, folks, I hope all of you have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I hope your day is just a little bit better than it already is. With that, we'll catch y'all in the next anime. Peace.